something new we started this year with the tasting. And I feel that after the Scotch, I think our silent and live auction may go very well. But I really want to thank all of you for your support of the Lighthouse. It's such a great place, and really thank all of our vendors. Ewan, back there, and also recognize Bay Ridge, who is a new partner with the Lighthouse, well, with the Friends, and has really worked with us to get this tasting scheduled and line up really their best people, which is really nice.
Let me tell you a little bit about me. I live here in Annapolis. I'm not from Annapolis, obviously. I'm from Scotland. I moved out here 3 years ago with the company who I work for, who are called Diageo. Has anyone heard of Diageo? We're a small boutique start-up drinks company, and we own a few companies. So we have 28 distilleries in Scotland. We own Johnnie Walker, we own Smirnoff, Tanqueray, Guinness, people like that. And I'm a whiskey ambassador for them, so I look after their whole portfolio nationally for whiskey. So not just Scotch, I do bourbon as well. We own Bullet Bourbon, and we own George Dickel Tennessee whiskey, and we own Crown Royal Canadian whiskey as well. So I look after all of those, and I'm kept very busy. And I was asked to come here tonight by the wonderful people who are organising it, as well as the people at Bay Ridge Liquor Store, who live around the corner from me. I like them a lot. So I thought I would come here profiling. This one's nice and fruity, good mid-balance to it. There's a little bit of smoke element to this one. And then, speaking of smoke, we finish up with this, which is Lagavulin 12-year-old cask strength bourbon matured. So this is 113 proof, and it's very smoky. So if you don't like smoky whiskey, you don't have to drink it, but at least have a little sniff. Okay? Rules are, if you have a cell phone, switch them to silent, so I don't want to hear your ringtones. Know where the emergency exits are. It's that door.
There's a lot of steps down that exit.
And if you have any questions, just put up your hand and ask. Okay? You can't take more than one, but if you are with someone else.
We'll only drink this one
We
first,
can say,
right?
Yeah, you have two hands,
even if they're
so
not a girl?
that's allowed. Yeah. If it
wanna
speeds
break the
things up,
rules.
then it's all good by me. All right, gents. Scotland is broken up into regions for whiskey purposes. So the Lowland region is generally very light. There's no smoke to these whiskies as well. They're very accessible, they're very sweet. And what we're doing with this one is we're actually maturing this in two different types of barrels. So this will go into an ex-bourbon barrel, it will also go into ex-Oloroso sherry. So a good rule of thumb is if your whiskey has a little bit of colour to it, like a nice amber colour to it, if you just come and grab your whiskies from up the front. Plus it makes you look bad because you have to come up the front and you're late. So, like Kitchie just outside Edinburgh, I was talking about colour. If you see a little bit of colour to it, like an amber colour, then you know there's a sherry influence. So even by looking at the colour, you can tell roughly what it's going to taste like in a single malt. So if it's very pale, like this one, it's been matured in bourbon, and it's going to be sweet, it's going to have a lot of vanilla notes to it. If it's got colour to it, or amber colour to it, then it's got an element of Oloroso sherry matured whiskey in it, so you're going to get fruit will come through from it. So even by looking at the colour, we know we're going to get a touch of fruit in here, but because it's quite pale as well, we know we're going to get a lot of vanilla too. Right, so first thing you should smell, malt. You should smell a maltiness. There should be an element of honey will come in here. You'll get a touch of that oak because it's matured in oak for a minimum of 3 years to be called Scotch whisky. But this one has been matured for a minimum of 12 years. So you can have a good amount of influence coming through from both that American bourbon and that Oloroso sherry. You should get a touch of fruit, and then you should get a little bit of that vanilla, which will come through as well. And then hold it in the middle of your tongue, and the easiest way to do that is to level your heads back so your tongue is flat. So everyone take a sip and do that, and then I'll tell you what to do. Okay, once you've taken a sip, I want you to gently tilt your head from side to side, coat the whole back of your palate, and then move your head forward so it sits at the tip, and when it prickles, which it does, squirt up into the bridge of your mouth and let it trickle under your tongue. It's going to give you the whole forward palate. And then you can swallow. And we're not finished. Once you swallow, I want you to draw air in over your tongue gently, and then close your mouth. And this is the most important bit. Breathe out through your nose for as long as you can. And
We led really nice with Owen. Thanks a lot, Owen. Good night. You might not taste everything we want you to taste after the whiskey, so feel free to email us. We're a private winery, but you can come out and tour the vineyard and the winery. You just have to email us. We're right on Harness Creek Road. Vineyard butts up on the South River. Kind of sandwiched between Harness Creek and the Hunter Fry after the whiskey. But we have Annapolis White. We released this. All of these wines we just released. The winery we just released all of our wines in June. Sold out of most of them. So what you're trying tonight is what we're releasing in the future, which will be November, December. Although the Annapolis White we released this June, we still have some of it left. Won awards out in Sonoma, California this summer. Only Maryland winery that won awards in Sonoma. So feel free to try it. If you have any questions, this is Chardonnay, and the way we made the Chardonnay is in steel. I can pour it as a coffee. But I think we're under a time limit. But Annapolis White is our steel-aged Chardonnay. We have an oak-aged Chardonnay as well. That's amazing.
He is a fourth generation in the hospitality industry, and he's a Baltimore resident. He was a wine buyer for Roy's, and then went on to become the GM for Acaccio Restaurant. Now he's a wholesaler with Catsiff, and he also went on to manage the Moet Hennessy for Reliable Churchill. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you
wow the
about
crowd
yourself and talk about the beer.
Well, we really don't care about me. I don't have a charming accent like you, and he's absolutely phenomenal. I've worked with him for years in the past. Brought some great beers for you tonight. They grew from there. They bake Belgian-style beers, so it's all about showing you what beer can be. It's not your typical light beer or American lager. Please start filing up, and we'll talk and taste. I'm sorry? Chicago, Illinois.
So you can't drive there. You couldn't drive back.
You can drive anywhere if you have the time. What we're pouring first is called Sophie. It's a Saison style beer.
Of course it is.
Saison is a rustic style, means farmhouse. It's a little bit of wheat. Interesting story to the name of the beer, where it came from. John Paul, the founder, his granddaughter signed off. Anytime she could ham it up, she would sign labels in crayon and autograph them. It was a lot of fun. It's a 765 milliliter bottle. This is a wine that also, or a beer that give me 1 minute. You have whole flower hops in front of you, a couple different kinds of malted barley, and